Every year we find so many children in need of our help. Most of the operations are carried out in September and October every year, when teams of Dutch doctors come to work at Harapanjaya. But we always find some children who need special attention, outside the normal scope of cleft lip and palate operations. Luminda is 13 years old. She is suffering from a Noma. This is a gangrenous infection of the face. It starts with ulcers, and if untreated, it spreads at an alarming rate. Sikri is 13 years old. He is also suffering from a Noma. His infection started when he was 3 months old, after he had had measles. This is Siti. She is suffering from the worst case of Noma we have ever seen.
From the moment we met Siti, we knew that helping her would be a major undertaking. We took her to see Dr. Suryanto, a local doctor who works with us.
Your view on the situation?
Not only this part, but only jaw. It cannot open.
Yeah.
As well as the infection eating part of her face, her jaw was also locked shut due to the infection damaging her jawbone.
If we cannot help now, maybe next year.
Okay.
Yeah?
We took Siti for x-rays and other tests to show the results to a team of Dutch doctors who were about to arrive in Harapanjaya. Siti was accompanied by her sister Ika. When Siti was very young, her mother died. Her father remarried and Ika became Siti's carer.
Sister Severia agreed to let Siti stay in Harapanjaya so that she could be seen by Sister Jeanette and the Dutch doctors. The Dutch team were not able to help Siti due to the lack of good facilities and appropriate skills. Dr. Aggie, one of the Dutch team, referred Siti to another Dutch team who were working in Java. Sad goodbyes were made in May as Siti prepared for the 4,400 kilometre round trip to Bandung, West Java. She was to undergo tests for surgery that would be carried out in November. Ika could not accompany Siti as she had to work. Siti had CAT scans that showed clearly the damage to her skull and jaw. She had other tests that confirmed her severe malnutrition, and she was put on a very strict diet. Back in Sumatra, Siti gained 7 kilos, and in November she was ready to make the long trip back to Bandung again. Once again we said our goodbyes and got ready to board the plane. When we arrived in Bandung, more tests were carried out on Siti, and consultations were held with both plastic and maxillofacial surgeons. This time, Siti's sister Ika was able to make the journey with her to support Siti through her surgery. Altogether, about 8 hours of surgery were carried out on Siti. The first part of the operation was to open her jaw.
Yeah, and the last, the fifth.
The second part of the operation was to reconstruct her face. Emma, a nurse from England who was helping us with the cleft operations, came to help us in Bandung. The jaw opening was a great success, but we were all worried about the blood supply to the facial reconstruction. Our team all took turns in looking after Siti 24 hours a day. The surgeons now knew that the flap on her face had died, and immediate surgery had to be carried out to remove it. Nothing more could be done to help Siti in Indonesia, so arrangements were made to fly her to Holland, accompanied by our nurse. Siti needed constant medical care throughout her journey. After 20 hours of travelling,
It's fine.
Siti eventually arrived safely in Holland.
Okay. Well, good luck. All the best, take care.
We took Siti straight to Erasmus Medical Centre in Rotterdam. The maxillofacial department had kindly offered to cover all her medical bills in Holland. Photos were taken for the surgeons to help them prepare for Siti's next operation. Now that Siti was safely in hospital again, all our spirits rose.
But repairing the damage done by the failure of the first flap was not going to be easy. After a very long and complicated operation by a great team of surgeons from Erasmus Hospital, a new flap was reconstructed on Siti's face. Sadly, problems arose again with Siti's blood supply to the flap, and its edges started to discolour. A very ancient remedy was then used. Leeches were put on her face. After a week of this treatment, there were no more problems with the flap. Siti was very happy with her new face, and even happier when she was told she could leave the hospital. Siti was so happy to be out that she hardly noticed that the temperature was well below freezing.
Yeah.
Siti and Ika stayed with friends for a couple of weeks, while Siti was having checkups in Erasmus Hospital. Siti had never been able to chew food before, as her jaw had been locked shut for 15 years. 2 weeks later, Siti and Ika were ready to fly back home. Back in Indonesia, Siti celebrated her 21st birthday. We moved Siti back into Harapan Jaya to monitor her health, as she had a small infection on her face. While there, she was being taught to read and write, and also other skills to help her get work in the future. Siti is now completely healed, and is a very happy and confident young lady, enjoying life to the full. Siti will have to have more operations, but they will be nothing compared to what she has already been through. Siti's transformation is already quite dramatic, but there is still a lot of work to do. The same goes for Sukri, but already he shows a great improvement. After Luminda's operation, she has become more confident and is now doing very well at school. All three will be coming back for cosmetic surgery in the future. The World Health Organization estimates that 140,000 new cases of Noma occur each year, and of these only 10% survive. The infection usually occurs in children under the age of 6, and nearly all of them live in conditions of extreme poverty and suffer from malnutrition. The infection can be treated with simple antibiotics, but the damage done will remain. Our 3 children are lucky to have been able to have their faces reconstructed.